Are you ready?
Moore takes over. Amir Abdullah is the lone tailback behind him and gets the call. First string offensive line is in there. Look at this kid. There's a flag on the play. And he is hog-tied from behind inside the 40-yard line. I thought they got a little piece of the face.
3rd and 14 situation. Biggest play of the game for the Ravens offense. Flacco looking right. Near side across his body with the throw. He's got Smith. Caught. 20, 10. Smith breaks a tackle and he's in. 80 yards.
This on 4th and goal. Dolphins going for it from the 2. Tannehill to the end zone. And a touchdown to Jarvis Landry.
For the Arkansas. Stafford. Donald's on the deep ball. One-on-one. It's caught. Megatron is back.
Better get used to the way the ball bounces. I see what you got. It measures in ounces, but that's a brace, boy. Yeah.
Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to week 1 of the NFL Fantasy Football season. It's finally here. Can you believe it? It's unbelievable. We're finally here. I'm pumped. I'm getting excited. My name is the Big AC, as you can see, Andy Chevalier, 401 crew right here. We're going to be talking Daily League. We're going to be talking Week 1 stardom, Week 1 sit-ems. It's going to get exciting. I'm pumped up. I just can't believe it's finally here, and let's just get rolling right into it. I'm also going to answer a couple of your questions. I just want to quickly say really quick too, loving the support from everyone, loving the positive feedback, loving the questions, the comments. It really does make the show awesome. So I do appreciate you watching these videos each and every week, and hopefully I can win you some money this week. Who knows, and win you some fantasy championships. But it starts week 1. Let's start right away with my stardoms and sit-ems for week number 1. First of all, I do want to say, if you drafted a guy in the first 4 rounds, okay, you're probably going to start him. So these are not the obvious stardoms. You're going to start your Adrian Petersons. You're going to start your Eddie Lacy's. Like, I'm not going to be talking about guys who are clear-cut starters. I'm going to be talking about like any guys drafted like around 5, 6, stuff like that. That may or may not be in your lineup and you're kind of unsure about. So let's start right away with my stardom. Number 1 on the least week. I do like a lot Steve Smith. Steve Smith against Denver. This is a guy who always seems to just come out and have a banging week 1, week 2 early in the season. He always comes out shot out of a cannon. He's always fired up. He's a great leader on the field too. Kind of a hothead too. But this is a guy who just has big play written all over him, too. This is also, don't forget, this is his swan song. This is his last season here in the NFL, so I think he's going to want to make a big impact. I really like him a lot against Denver. The over-under in the Denver Ravens game is one of the highest of the week, so I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So I do like Steve Smith a lot. I would put him in your lineup if you're 50-50 in your flex if you're not quite sure. I'm also really liking Kendall Wright this week. I talked a lot about Kendall Wright in my previous episodes. Going to be a very consistent receiver this year. I think he's going to be Mariota's number 1 target, and they're going to be looking at him a lot. I really like Kendall Wright, so I would totally go for him. Like I said, I do think it'll be consistent all year long. Very, very high floor for this guy. So again, in your flex position, all you're really hoping for each and every week is a guy that can get you 10, 15 points. You don't need that home run guy. Those are your early round guys. Those are your RB1s, your wide receiver ones. Those are the guys that can get you the 20, 30 points each and every week. You want guys who are just going to get you a solid foundation of 10 to 15 points every week, and that's what Kendall Wright, I believe, is going to do this season. I really, really like Kendall Wright this season, so I'm really liking him in my week 1 lineup. They are facing one of the worst defenses in football right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so that game could also be high scoring. Could be a battle of the rookie quarterbacks, I believe, too. So I'm liking Kendall Wright a lot for week number 1. Guys who I am not feeling this week, we're going to go to running back, and I'm benching Alfred Blue. If you have other options, I would go Blue. Not feeling him against KC. KC did not give up many rushing touchdowns last year. Yes, he'll be the clear-cut starter of this game, but in games where he's had 10 carries or more, he's only scored double digits twice. all season long last year. And when he's the bell cow, he just doesn't get it done. He just does not excel. Very low ceiling for this guy. Don't see him having that monster week 1. A lot of people are going to be on him because there's no Arian Foster. Bell's the clear number 1. I'm just not seeing the upside in Blue at all. I don't expect much from him. And like I said, KC was the 6th best rushing defense last year against fantasy running backs. So if you have other borderline options, I'd probably start Blue. I might even start a guy like Bishop Sankey, Chris Ivory over Alfred Blue this week. So yeah, he's really on my borderline. If you absolutely must, say if you drafted Le'Veon Bell and you're desperate for an RB2, okay, throw in Blue, but just don't expect much. I'm not expecting more than a 15-point fantasy football game out of Alfred Blue. Another running back I'm not feeling a lot. Trey Mason versus Seattle this week. Guy is probably facing the best defense in football, and that's probably a good sign right there not to start any running back, but especially Trey Mason. He's already a little banged up, too, as well. In the 2 games combined against Seattle last year where he was the clear-cut starter, he had 29 carries, 113 yards, and only 1 touchdown. Not very high expectations for Trey Mason week number 1. So I am avoiding Trey Mason again at all costs. Again, if you're in that situation where you're really, really desperate for a week 1 running back, sure, throw him in. But again, you're just not going to expect much. He's not going to put up solid numbers. And like Seattle all season long is going to cause troubles for fantasy running backs. So I am definitely benching Trey Mason this week, if at all possible. My defense of the week this week is the Dolphins. Dolphins against Washington. I like Dolphins actually a lot for the first 6 weeks of the season, so I'm definitely feeling Dolphins against Redskins. The Redskins quarterback situation is just an absolute mess. The whole offense is just a complete mess. The Dolphins also improved defensively in the offseason this year, so I love for them for week 1. I actually like them for, like I said, a couple of weeks. So definitely feeling Dolphins. If you're streaming defenses this week and they're available, I'm throwing them in. Before we go to our daily stuff, and again, I'll be showing you where the bankroll is and what we're playing this week. I had a quick trade question. My buddy Roy asked me a question. Should I trade Davante Adams for Martellus Bennett? I have Dwayne Allen. I really like Martellus Bennett a lot for week 1, week 2. This is a guy who just seems to light it up in September for some unknown reason. He's just crazy. But Davante Adams has a lot more value than Martellus Bennett, and I just don't see that drastic of an upgrade between Dwayne Allen and Martellus Bennett. Did I say Dwayne Allen or Dwayne Bowe? I definitely meant Dwayne Allen. Dwayne Bowe is trash and should not be on your fantasy teams. But yeah, Martellus Bennett, not that much of an upgrade, Roy. I would definitely keep Davante Adams. Davante Adams is a Randall Cobb injury away from being a wide receiver 1 this year. So I do like Davante Adams a lot for this season. No Jordy Nelson all season long, as you know. Davante Adams, this could be his year to shine. And again, don't forget last year, when given the opportunity, he was a beast. So, all right, let's move on to the part of the show that I've been personally looking forward to the most. It's a new thing we're doing this year. We're doing some daily fantasy leagues. Each and every week, I'm going to invest between 20 and 25% of my bankroll into 2 tournaments. I'm going to be doing a 50-50 tournament where half of the entries entering double their money, and I'm going to be doing the Millionaire Maker event every single week, where $20 gets you a chance to win up to $2 million, and that's what we're looking for this week. Let's first go over the 50-50 lineup. As you can see, we're going to have 45,000 entrants, or that's what they're guessing in this event, and about 20,000 of them are going to get paid. So again, the objective here is simply just double your money. Get a solid lineup. You don't need to hit that home run at all. First place pays the same as 20,000's place. So again, all you have to do is get a solid lineup, and this is what we're going to go for our 50-50 lineup. As you can see, we're going to go Matt Ryan as our quarterback right here. Matt Ryan, I believe, will be the most consistent and probably most owned quarterback this week. I think he's just going to put up very, very solid numbers. So I'm definitely going Matt Ryan. After that, I'm going to go C.J. Anderson. He ended the season very, very hot. Same with Jeremy Hill. I think they're just going to get a ton of work. Jeremy Hill had a monster game against Oakland last year, too, and since he is facing Oakland. So I do like Jeremy Hill a lot. Also going to go Davante Adams. Davante Adams, I think, is going to have a very consistent game with Randall Cobb being a little bit banged up. I'm liking Davante Adams this week. Jarvis Landry, again, another very high floor guy. He might not put up those huge robusto numbers, but I'm liking Jarvis Landry for a very consistent game against one of the actual worst defense in football last year, the Washington Redskins. Kendall Wright, again, can't talk enough about this guy. I love Kendall Wright. I'm loving him to have a very consistent game this week, week one. Greg Olsen, probably could be the number one tight end at the end of this week in regards to fantasy points. Very, very high floor for this guy. He's basically the only object of desire in Carolina right now. Only object Cam Newton has. John Brown, another guy I like. He's the number one right now with Michael Floyd down and aging Larry Fitzgerald. John Brown is the guy I like for a pretty high floor guy. And the Dolphins, DST, they have a very favorable matchup this week, and I'm liking them a lot. I believe they'll put up very solid numbers. Again, all these guys on my list aren't really home run hitters, maybe a Jeremy Hill and a C.J. Anderson, but they aren't home run hitters. They're just guys who I know aren't going to suck, basically. I know they're going to be very, very consistent, so I am liking this as my 50-50 lineup. Now let's move on to the Millionaire Maker lineup, and as you can see right here, we're looking for that big score here. We're having a lot of entries in this one. It looks like over 500,000 entries. They're paying out a lot of spots. Min cash right here is about $25, but we're really looking forward to that big one right there. That's what we're winning this week. $2 million in my pocket. Why not? But yeah, it is. We would love to get one of these huge numbers, as you can see right here. That's what we're looking for. One of the big numbers right here. So for this lineup, these particular lineups, I like to go for lineups that are kind of unconventional, against the grain, not what everyone's going to choose. So I avoided a lot of the obvious ones. I avoided the Davante Adams. I avoided Alfred Blue, who is dirt cheap this week. And I avoided Matt Ryan in this particular home run lineup because, again, I think everyone is going to go for these lineups. I need guys who are against the grain, who I think have a very, very high ceiling. And I started off with quarterback, one of the cheaper options of the week, Sam Bradford, and nothing screams more upside than Sam Bradford. He's relatively cheap on DraftKings right now. He's my quarterback. I'm pairing him up with Jordan Matthews. Again, I'm hoping for that big game between the two and the connection. My running backs, I have Amir Abdullah and Adrian Peterson. Again, I think Adrian Peterson is going to come back, set the world on fire. The number one overall player in fantasy, I believe, this year. And he really wasn't that expensive. He wasn't even a top 3 in regards to price. So I'm liking Adrian Peterson. Amir Abdullah, looks like Joique Bell is not going to play. If Joique Bell does play, I might switch in someone else for Amir Abdullah. But right now, that's who I have locked in. Ted Ginn, the absolute minimum on DraftKings. He's the number 2 in Carolina. If Devin Funchess doesn't get it done, Ted Ginn could be the one that gets some consistent targets. And he also does a lot in the return game, too. So if you do get points for return yards and return touchdowns. So he was, again, a dirt cheap, just a high ceiling guy who I slipped in for the absolute minimum. Megatron, rarely on the field, but when he does awesome. He had a tremendous week 1 last year. Liking Megatron a lot. Put in my boy, Owen Daniels, all in on Owen Daniels. Liking him in a big matchup against Baltimore. Denver and Baltimore have one of the biggest over-unders of the week in Vegas, so I also wanted to get a Denver Bronco in there. I got Joe Randall. No one screams more upside than Joe Randall out of Dallas. If he gets the workload in Dallas, he could have a monster game against the Giants. And I have Vikings in there as my DST. They have a very good matchup. I watch them against the San Francisco 49ers. Watch them maybe get a big return from Cordarrelle Patterson. They could get a couple of pick sixes. That offense is pretty trash with Colin Kaepernick. They're pretty one-dimensional in my mind. So, again, I got to choose an upside defense DST with Vikings. So, right there, hopefully that's the $2 million lineup. Who knows? Maybe we can get a big score anyways. So, we basically need a big game from Sam Bradford and Jordan Matthews. We need big games from everybody. You got to be, to win the big money in this one, you got to be pretty much exacto on these. And, again, it's a crapshoot, but in my mind, it's an educated crapshoot. So this is what I think is going to happen this week. Good luck us investing that $20. Hopefully turning that 20 into $2 million. Why not us, right? All right, folks, thank you so much again for watching this week 1 episode of The Fantasy Life. Next week, hopefully, we'll be a little bit richer, playing some more daily, no matter what. Even if we win the $2 million, we're going to be playing some more daily. Probably not going to win the $2 million, but if we do, we'll have a lineup each and every week. I'll be giving you fantasy advice each and every week. So send your questions my way. Loving the feedback. And again, if you have any questions, trade questions, waiver wire pickups, you know we're going to have a lot after that week 1. We're going to see who gets injured, who looks good, who's that week 1 blunder, who's this year's Allen Hurns, like he blew up last year. So we'll see what happens, folks. Until then, my name's the Big AC, and good luck on the Fantasy Gridiron. Thanks for watching, everybody.
You think you can tell me what to do?